Hey Katsucon 2020, this is Erica Mendez and I'm the voice of Ryuko in Kill la Kill, Gon in Hunter x Hunter, Sailor Uranus in the new dub of Sailor Moon, Bernadetta in Fire Emblem Three Houses, and many more.
Alright, so it's Katsucon 2020. I am with the great Erica Mendez. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Man, a lot to talk about today. First of all, how's the con been treating you thus far?
It's been really good. It was actually my birthday when I flew out here on Thursday.
Happy belated.
Thank you. So I've got a lot of nice birthday wishes and
Awesome.
gifts people have given me. So it's been a good birthday weekend.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, you're obviously no fan to the area. I've seen you here at Otakon, I think 2018.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, because you typically don't kind of tour on the East Coast much. What is it about the fans in this area that brings you over here for these special cons?
Oh, I kind of wish I was out here more often. I just don't get invited as much.
Who do we need to talk to?
Yeah, I know, right? Who do I need to talk to? I go to the Midwest a lot, but the East Coast is nice just because I don't get to see a lot of these fans over here so often. I wouldn't say it's like anything special that brings me out. Like I just love traveling. I love coming out to conventions.
Yeah.
And I was a fan and went to conventions myself. So any like cool convention that I had always wanted to go to, like Katsucon or Otakon, when I was just a fan. Getting invited is like an extra treat, I think. So.
That's awesome. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
You know, business and pleasure, right?
Exactly.
How was the transition actually from coming in here and completely just being luxury and fun to actually having to have like a business-centric mindset now?
Oh, it's still really crazy being on the other side of the table, honestly, because like, I went to panels for voice actors, I went to autograph sessions, so it's still not quite used to it, but I like to see it more as like kind of paying it forward in a way, because a lot of the voice actors I listen to like really did a lot for me growing up, so I like to think I'm the new generation, helping people while still also getting help myself from other of my fellow voice actors that I meet and get to hang out with at cons.
I would love to know some of those names. Before we get there though, what actually was the transition between going to college to be a graphic designer to switching over to voice acting, or do you kind of encompass this all together in some instances?
It's kind of the same. Actually, I have a bachelor's in arts and animation, which I haven't used since I paid off my student loans. Because it was animation and I've always just been a fan of animation, I just see it more as like I'm kind of in the same industry. I just, instead of making the cartoons, I get to voice them and be them. So I prefer it that way, I think. Because animation, like if you've never done it, it's very difficult. I did a few things in college and it just takes forever to do like a single frame of like anything moving. So yeah.
So well, how about some of those people you say you kind of credit to or kind of, I say, tour with?
Well, it's different people every time, obviously. This weekend we're here obviously with Jeremy Lee and Bryce Pappenbrook and Lauren Landa, who's become a close friend of mine. But I've also done cons with like Laura Bailey and Travis Willingham and I think Troy Baker at one point. I did a con with Rob Paulson, who, if you don't know Rob Paulson, he's like Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, like Carl from Jimmy Neutron and stuff like that. One of the Ninja Turtles from way back when. So that was really cool. It's kind of like hard not to fan out sometimes. I want to be professional, but every once in a while I'm like, I used to watch you when I was a kid. This is really cool.
So you're credited over 120 voices, which I'm pretty sure that's inaccurate, but if it's on the internet, that means it's true.
It's somewhere close to sure. I don't keep track, so.
But from all that extensive work, like again, from Hunter x Hunter, My Hero Academia, Sailor Moon, which one of those characters do you think you resonate the most with?
Oh gosh. There's so many, and I feel like if I don't already have a piece of me within them, like I take a part of them with me for like the rest of my life. But more recently, I really do feel like Bernadetta from Fire Emblem has kind of just been like the character that's most like me, or at least like a really exaggerated version of me. Because she's just like a ball of anxiousness, and that's just, when I go home, I'm always like worrying about stuff. Just, even when I'm here, I'm always like, oh man, did I bring everything? Did I say something that could have been taken out of context to that person? Did they like enjoy their experience with me, and then when I'm done with all my stuff, I just go back to my room and just like sit there. Sometimes I'll order a piece of cake and just eat it in my room.
That's a happy victory.
It's you do what you can to. It's the simple things, really, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, looking back at all the roles that you've done, I think Kill la Kill probably is the one to benchmark.
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, some odd years, like what is your reflection from that point to now?
That's I still definitely credit that one as being the thing that kind of pushed me, because I had like Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic before that, but nothing has been. I don't want to say nothing has been as big as Kill la Kill, but there's a lot of people that are like, I first heard of you when you were in Kill la Kill, and now look at like all the stuff you've done. And we got to do the video game like a year or two ago, and that was crazy because it was almost like it was a slightly different storyline, but it was crazy getting to go back and almost redo what I had done 5 years ago, knowing more, as my career has progressed. So it's been a crazy journey.
Is there any preparation? Is there any difference in preparation when it comes to video games and just regular animation or anime?
Yeah, anime, you get to watch video. For video games, a lot of time you don't get to watch video. So because there's no timing, sometimes there is timing. For video games, they'll have you listen to an audio file.
Okay.
If there's certain distinctions and how long a file has to be to kind of match it with what the Japanese had done. But other times, they'll just let you kind of do whatever you want, and they'll fix things in the production from there. But for video games, they want you to do a lot more with the time that you have. So for anime, typically it'll be we call lines loops. So we'll do about they want you to do anywhere from 20 to 40 loops an hour. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to preview the video and then go in and then do a second take, maybe a third take, sometimes a fifth take. So it can take some time, but for video games, they want you to do anywhere from 100 to 200 lines an hour, which can be crazy, and you don't always have the full context. So I personally, being a visual person, prefer anime and having the visuals there to kind of see what the character is emoting. Because my biggest thing, as someone who also plays video games, if I'm playing a game that I'm in or that people I know are in, if the games that have those character sprite images that pop up, if the emotion and the acting does not match with the character sprite, it annoys me so much. And even when it's myself, my own character in a game like that, I'm like, oh man, I wish they would have told me so I know. Because if the character portrait's crying and I'm not crying in the line, then I'm like, oh, it feels so wrong.
Oh man, yeah. And speaking of, we've already talked extensively about that stuff, and there's another thing that you're very talented about that I don't think you talk about too much, and that's your talent in script adaptation.
Yeah, I've done a few.
Can you take us through that process?
That is, gosh, I don't even know where to begin with that, because I just kind of, I'd always been interested in it, and I'd kind of done just stuff on my own time before I was even in the industry. So when I was given the chance to actually do it professionally, I had a little bit of knowledge of how to do it, and then of course I, have been acting for years before then. So being a dub actor helps significantly with timing words to the mouth flaps. So basically I take a translation that's given to me and I match it to the timing of the video that I'm watching. So if there's nothing on the screen, no mouths moving, then I'll have to match it to the audio timing as best as I can. So I'm not perfect at it. I'm still, I've only been doing it for 2 years or so. But I've been complimented on my scripts before by actors and fans, so I assume I'm doing something right. But it can be a very difficult process because sometimes the mouth flaps just do not want to cooperate with how much time you have that's on the screen. Because the way Japanese works is, or any language really, because you can adapt to other languages too. The languages work so much differently than they do in English, so it can definitely be a challenge.
I can imagine. Speaking of Japanese, how is it, and what type of conversation do you have with your Japanese counterparts to characters?
Oh, obviously being an anime fan, I've listened to a lot of, because I watch dubs and subs, so I've listened to a lot of Japanese voice actors, and I have a few favorites over the years that I've listened to. But I try not to, I try to take a little bit of inspiration from the actors from the original Japanese, because obviously we have to listen to what they did first, and then we go in and do our own version of it. But I take a little bit of inspiration from their performance, and then I also make it a little bit of my own. So it's kind of a mix between the two. But there's so many like amazing performances out there, so it's hard not to take inspiration from them, I feel like. But I've actually been fortunate enough to meet a few of my counterparts, which has been really cool. I met the voice actress for Ryuko, and the voice actress for both Akko and Gon, and there's another one I'm blanking on at the moment. But we did at Anime Expo this past year, we did a Promised Neverland panel with the 3 English voice actresses and the 3 Japanese voice actresses. So I got to meet the voice of Emma as well. And I can't speak with them because I don't speak Japanese and they don't speak English. But
did they not have a translator?
They do, but it's hard, and I think Japanese voice actors have like way stricter management. And we don't have management, so we're a little bit more free reign than they are. But this, like, you have to ask permission to post pictures of yourself with them. It's pretty crazy, but I get why they do it. It's a very lucrative career over there, and it is to an extent out here too. But like over there, it's like way more of like an actual thing. You know, that makes, like, I don't mean to downgrade it, but they take it a lot more seriously as far as like the promotion and the management goes over there, I think. Yeah.
So to kind of wrap things up just a little bit, let's talk about 2020. I think you had a very busy 2019, but what are we kind of looking forward to as fans for 2020?
Oh gosh, I'd like to know that actually. I've got a few exciting things. They're not like huge, but things that are exciting to me that I'll have to announce in the next coming months, I think. But I just announced that I'm in Magi Record, which is it's like a kind of a sequel side story to Madoka Magica, and I play Reina in that, so that'll be a simul-dub. Second episode is, I think, coming out today. I don't know when you're putting this up, but for whatever today is on the 15th, it's coming out today. And obviously, last year we got announced that we're doing that season 2 and 3 is happening for Shield Hero, which is pretty exciting. I don't know when we're starting it, but hopefully we have that to look forward to this year, at least season 2. And then also was announced that we get season 3 of Aggretsuko at some point. So looking forward to that whenever that happens. But other than that, it's been like, I feel like all the big shows that I was in, the long-running ones, ended last year. So I'm like, I'm not like desperate for work, but I'm also like, when's the next thing coming? But simul-dubs have kind of been keeping things lasting a little bit longer. And so, like I said, I've got Magi Record, and we're doing season 2 of Isekai Quartet. And I'm in Radiant now for Friend Mission. And other than that, I'm like blanking on stuff. But
don't you have something coming up with Netflix soon?
Do I? What do I have? Oh my gosh. You have to remind me.
Ni no Kuni?
Oh, that was a movie that came out,
okay. And it already has come out. Oh,
yes,
it did come out early. Okay.
That's I don't play anything huge in that.
Okay.
But,
I wasn't familiar with it, but I definitely wanted to know because like Netflix has really made a stride into bringing a lot of new content.
There's so much stuff. It's been crazy. But I mean, hey, it's keeping the work coming,
Absolutely. So before we wrap it up, I guess it would be silly to not ask, do you have any stories that we should know about with any of the people that you are here at the con with, such as Bryce?
Here? There was, I don't know, maybe this is not as funny out of context, but I did a panel with Bryce and Jeremy at ASEN, I think a few years back, and it was a sword art panel, and Bryce was talking about, because Alicization hadn't come out yet, so he was talking about getting to work on Alicization, and he had said, like, I'm so happy to have been recast as Kiriso, and like recast, generally we don't use it as like the sense of like I'm coming back to a show, we use it as like you got replaced. So I was like, Bryce, He's like, what? He's like, you got recast? You're hoping to get recast as Kirito? And he's like, what are you talking? And Shermie just like bust out laughing because she knew what I was talking about, and Bryce was just so confused. And so that was our little joke for a little while. So. But yeah, that's the funniest thing I can think of with anybody.
I noticed there seems to be a trend amongst you all when it comes to interviews where somebody's doing like some type of gag.
Yeah, we're always like hugging each other. That just shows like how close we are.
Yeah,
I don't get to see any of them that often.
Yeah.
But other than at conventions, like it's a weird thing. We all live in the same area. So we don't hang out because we're all so busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've all got some sort of little inside joke convention story, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting
you.
today, and I hope you have the rest of your Katsucon. I hope it's amazing. And
Yeah, you too.
see you at future cons as well.
Yeah.
Because we need you at Otakon as
Oh,
well.
I mean,
too,
I'd
right?
love to go back to Otakon, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.